All right, so I'm building the Strongback for this canoe, and with my experience in finished carpentry, we've done a lot of columns, and we found that building them like this, it does keep it perfectly straight on both the sides and the tops of these. So what I did is I went down to a shop or supplier, and I bought some 3/4 inch by, I think these side ones are 7.5 inches of 3/4 inch MDF, and it's basically like shelving material without the bull nose on the front. And then the bottom piece is a 12 inch wide, which actually comes at 11.25 wide. And then if you just nail and screw those down, that's going to be a perfectly straight. These side pieces will hold that top piece perfectly flat, without any bow or curve to it.
With the body of the Strongback all put together, I decided to use some scrap 3/4 inch MDF I had floating around the shop to use as blocking, to put inside just periodically throughout, or spaced evenly across that, so that those sides would not want to flex in. So I cut those on the table saw and then moved over to the miter saw and got them cut to size.
Starting at this end, I'm just going to measure every 2 feet and drop one of these cross pieces in and nail them and screw them into place. This 1/2 inch plywood that I'm going to cut down and make into legs. I'm going to double them up, and then I'm going to sandwich a piece of that 3/4 inch MDF across the bottom to be the same width as one of those little dividers on the bottom of that Strongback. So we'll get cutting these. These cuts don't need to be exact, so I'm just going to freehand them on the lines that I've got here. Then I'll trace them over onto the other ones, and we'll cut all of them up.
So clearly the legs can be made of anything that you want. I just happen to have some scrap material laying around, and so I tried to optimize what I had for this project, and these pieces just happened to be there and worked out.
So that's going to be one leg. I don't see any reason to make that narrow. The triangular shape's going to just kind of help support it and give it more strength anyway. Okay, so as I'm cutting this, just one thing to note, I always prefer to use the same piece to trace the patterns, because if I use this next one to trace the next pattern and then so on and so on, things could eventually start to vary a little bit more than I would like. So I'm going to base them all off of that first pattern.
These are just going to be a few spacers to put on the bottom of those legs, sandwiched between those pieces of plywood.
So now I'm just going to take these blocks, place one on each side of this, and I'm going to screw them and nail them on, but just to make sure that they remain in place. We'll throw a little bit of glue on. One of the reasons I wanted to put that MDF piece in the bottom there is because I'm going to mount some nuts into the bottom of this and then thread in an adjustable foot so that we can keep that Strongback level. Pretty sure most concrete floors are not going to be exactly level, so this just helps make minor adjustments as needed.
With the two 3/4-inch MDF spacers I put on the bottom of the legs, I then slid the top of the legs down over either side of one of those dividers on the bottom side of that Strongback. legs in place on the bottom of that Strongback. I have to slide that off of my workbench and get it on the floor, but right side up, and it's actually kind of surprising how heavy it is. It is pretty heavy. With the Strongback complete, the only thing left to do at this point was just get things leveled out and make sure that it's both level side to side and front to back. And it actually came out really nice as far as I can see. Really straight, and it should hold quite a bit of weight.